One of the things I love to do on Sunday is interview and discuss real estate with new faces and new stories. And we've got one for you here. We've got the one and only Jared. Jared, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. It's Sunday morning. It's always a good time to talk to new folks. Why don't you do me a favor? Introduce who you are, what you do in this crazy world of real estate, and we'll get into your story.
Okay, I'm Jared Oschenbein, and I invest in co-living out of state. I live in Oregon, but I invest in Arizona.
All right. So again, so we can talk about co-living. We talk about out-of-state investing. You're also part of the wonderful school community and one of the contributors and monitors of accountability group number 2, what I call this. We have one on Wednesday by Frank, and then there's a collaboration on Sunday. So real quick, why don't you just talk about your experience with school, kind of what it is and all of that, and then we'll get into the story of co-living in out-of-state.
Sure. Yeah, school is great. I mean, if you don't, $20, man, come on. So I'm interacting with millionaires. I'm interacting with all kinds of people doing all kinds of different things in real estate. The sorry, I don't want this to sound too preachy, but it's a no-brainer. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man. So I get a lot of information and feedback, like in specific feedback to people that are actually doing the work,
Yeah.
as you would put it. So like
Yeah.
real-time stuff.
Yeah, the beauty of the school community now that we're over 200 is it will start to morph and build all by itself, right? When you're building a new community, you have to take on a lot of the heavy lifting the first 100 or 200 folks. We're now at a point where there are folks like yourself who are saying, "Hey, Zuber, I want to take something off your plate. I want to run an accountability group. We've already got one on the West Coast time zone. Let's do one for the East Coast." And it's like, go, right? It's amazing to see a community of go-givers. And then you're right, you're getting specific questions, right? The beauty of school is not only are many of my millionaires there, but there are people there with large portfolios. Some just getting started, and the interaction, the daily interaction, is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing there. I'm in other mentorships that I paid thousands for. Um, and these are real people. Like I don't want to say other mentorships aren't real. They're very salesy, right? And they're trying to sell you something, or people in there doing stuff. This your community, the hope is unreal. Like the ORaaT thing and last year blew me away. There wasn't a single thing for sale.
Nope.
Everybody there was real, and that is super super rare in my opinion. So just sorry, I know
You
I'm
know, no,
building you up
I think
there, but
it's no, I love it. We're doing the next, as you know, we're doing the next one. We just put tickets on sale for this in the school community. August 1st, they will go out to the public.
bought mine
Uh,
already.
Nice. Thank you for that. It's funny. One of the things I got heat for was there was nothing to buy, right? That was a big deal for me. Nobody sold from the stage. I didn't have books. I didn't bring any books. And I didn't bring any, swag. And people are like, don't do that. Go set up an ORaaT store so we can buy some of your stuff. So I will have a little, I've actually created some limited edition stuff that will only be at that event just to have something unique. So yeah, there'll be some unique swag at the next one because I actually got a lot of flack for that. It's kind of funny.
Huh. Wow. I thought that was
Yeah.
one of the great things about it. And
Yeah.
then the networking was unreal. Like nobody was shy. Everybody just went for it. So it was
Yeah.
cool.
Again, I got a lot of feedback. No name tags last time. So we'll have name tags this time if people want to put them on. That'll be fun. We're going to do 6 hours of networking. So we're going to do 2 lunches and a dinner. The first day goes long. We go till probably 8 o'clock, 8:30. Um, yeah, and it's going to be the same kind of deal, right? It's very much the audience interaction. I think that was really what made the event. Not only the networking, everybody's real. Also, Mark told me one time he loved the fact that it was recorded because he couldn't watch every presentation, but he knew it was recorded. So the ones that he missed, he can go back and watch. So I will do that again, even though it costs an arm and a leg in Vegas to get that to happen. But yeah, it's I'm already deep in planning for number 2.
Nice. Nice.
Nice. Well, let's get into your story. You're doing out of state and co-living. That I got to tell you, that kind of breaks my brain because co-living is already hard enough, and then out of state is its own kind of hard. So break it down for us. Why would
I,
you do something so silly?
well, I'm a little different. I work backwards. I like try to
Okay.
have the goal in mind and work backwards to get to that goal.
Hmm.
So being in corporate America for 23 years, um, I finally figured out that real estate was the way to go. Looks like we froze up there, Mike. You still
Well,
there?
yeah, keep
Oh,
going. We got the
there.
sound. We're good. The
Oh,
video
okay,
will catch
gotcha.
up.
Yeah, so my goal was cash flow with the potential for appreciation and not just your
Okay.
normal cash flow. So I live in Oregon. I couldn't, so first of all, I started back in April of 2023. So I'm brand new.
Right.
And it's no coincidence that it was April, because how I got started, I wasn't starting to get into real estate. I was trying to find a way to save money on taxes, which is,
Mm,
so I did some research and found the book Tax Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright. If I ever meet that guy, I'm giving him the biggest hug of anything, right? I swear.
yeah, I read that. I read that book years ago. It's a great book. Shout out,
Yeah.
Tom.
Well, I didn't know anything about Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, nothing. I didn't know anything about real estate other than my personal homes I bought over the years. So I read that book, and for whatever reason, it instantly clicked with me. Now, this is April of 2023.
Okay.
I started doing research. I couldn't make anything. I got on Bigger Pockets, different things, listening to your podcast, found Dion, couldn't make anything pencil in Oregon. So I decided to look out of state.
Makes sense.
There were 3 or 4 states I was looking at. I settled on Arizona, property taxes, insurance, cost, but I was looking for a specific purchase range for tax reasons. So again, I was
Mm,
looking for saving money on taxes. So
okay.
the way I started is really weird. I started in May as a private money lender.
Okay. All right.
So, well, my thought process there was to get into real estate in some fashion, and it worked
Sure.
too. So I made great money on it. I still do it to my repeat borrowers, but I got to be in the middle of the transactions because
Mm,
remember, I didn't know anything about anything. So I decided to learn, but also get paid to learn, right? So
sure.
it was great.
So
So
let me
did
ask a quick question about those. So were these, you were lending on, was it lending on products in Arizona?
No, I was lending nationwide, except for,
Okay.
Idaho and Austin, Texas. I was kind of avoiding those. But what my first this is going to sound funny, but my I was trying to do earnest money loans, smaller loans, right?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because that's what the program I was in was teaching, and I couldn't make any of those work. Out of a couple hundred, I think I tried really hard on about 12 of them, and I was over 12. So I was
Hmm.
like, this sucks. Started talking to people, networking, and other people were stepping up their game doing private money lending. So I tried for a month and a half, 2 months to find something. And finally, my name got out there. And my first deal that I saw that I wanted to do was a 400K raise for a
Mm,
portfolio purchase from one of the bank. I guess the banks were packaging up these homes and just
mhm.
auctioning them off.
Okay.
And one guy had bought one for like 1.2 million or something like that, and he needed 400K, and he only wanted it for 2 months. So I was calling BS on this. And then I met with the guy, and I'm like, "How are you doing this?" And he's like, "Well, I've got two construction crews, and we fly them around." And the guy had what sold me on it was he secured it first lien position, and he said, "Here's 135 properties, pick two." And I'm like, "Done." But I did,
I like
but
it.
I did not want to put. I had left my corporate job, and I had 401k money that I pulled into self-directed, so that's where the money was coming from. But I didn't want to put 400K into my first loan, right? So I decided, well, I'll put 50K in there. And I went out, and within 20, 30 minutes from the people I'd networked with, we had that thing filled. It was unreal. We did have to, well, people that had committed, and then we got on the phone with a guy, and they bought into it. And I made some good
Mm.
friends because it was 15% for 2 months. So
Wow.
we made some pretty dang good money on that one. But anyway, but then that got me started to learn real estate, and I wanted to buy and hold, but I wanted to buy and hold with cash flow in mind, but with the potential for appreciation and the tax benefits. So I had a really hard goal to hit.
Okay.
And on top of that, my buy box is super hard too. Just to preface this a little bit, we've bought 3 houses in 8 months, and that's with construction and bringing them online and everything. So we went kind of nuts. But the Arizona market in certain areas is can be rough, right? And so my play was co-living, and I'm using a third party company to do the property management for the people side, and I'm doing the maintenance side. So that's how I'm doing the out of state piece. But I
Okay.
had left corporate for a year, flew down there, went to all kinds of AZ RIA meetings and Phoenix RIA meetings and different meetings and network with people. That's how I've got all my team, if you will. Gone through, 4 cleaning ladies, couple accountants, multiple contractors, yada yada. But
Mm.
yeah, so that's what we just started to do. I bought my first house in last year, and I bought 2 more this year. And this includes what we do is we take my buy box. I'll give you this. This will help. 2,000
Yeah.
square feet or better, no HOA, no pool. plenty of parking. Usually that's a
Right.
corner lot, something like that. And then a bonus is paid for solar, which 2 of my 3 houses have, and it's huge because I pay utilities. So
Ah,
that buy
nice.
box is really hard to find, especially in the price ranges I'm trying to hit, which is, 400, 450,
Mhm.
something like that for tax purposes. But yeah, we take a 2,000 square foot house or so, with usually a 4 or 5 bedroom. So far, they've all been 4 bedroom, 2.5 bath. Hopefully, I do have one that's a 2 bath, and then we add bedrooms, right? So all of my properties are 8 bedrooms, and so
Wow.
yeah, we
Okay.
rent by the room. So that's why the square footage is important, because you need that room to add bedrooms. So and it sounds it may sound a little different, but we're doing it nice. We have granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, all new floors. We're providing a really good service for affordable housing. So, and
Yeah.
that's actually what sold me on it, because I thought initially, because I was looking for cash flow, and this was one of the
Right.
things that came up. I didn't want to do Section 8. I didn't want to do sober living, because those probably make more, but this was the happy medium where it was
Sure.
something that I thought might be interesting. And I met a guy who was at one of the meetings who cried. He was living in his car,
Mm.
and that resonated with me because I lived in my car before I joined the army, and so I know what that's like. And there wasn't a co-living thing, or at least not that I knew of at the time. And so that kind of said, okay, you know what? I'm providing a good service. Let's do this. So I can. It's a win-win.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Couple
Yeah.
quick question. We'll go back to the private lending first, but I got a lot more coming on co-living. So that first deal, he talked about 2 months. You called BS. Did he actually deliver in 2 months? I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
Well, he was a week late, but he had a
Oh,
hundred.
oh, darn, a week late.
Yeah, but in the clause we had $150 a day late fee. So actually, it's funny if you do the math on it. I was making $108 a day on the loan. I made 150 on the week a day on the late
So he
fees.
was motivated to get that thing
Yeah,
done.
well, this guy, he's rocking and rolling. He's a big player. But I don't want to mention his name, but I'm not lending to him anymore because he's crazy. Um, he was super leveraged then, and now he's leveraging up. And I was like, dude, I don't want to be a part of that. It
Whoa.
scared me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Houses of cards can get really, really tall, but sometimes they fall down. So
yeah.
I gotcha. I gotcha. All right. So let's talk about this buy box. So again, 2,000 square feet, starts as a 4, becomes an 8. I actually am doing a co-living in my Buying Vegas series. Talked to a guy named Sean. Actually, just got some more content from another co-living folks, Spencer Cornelia in Vegas. He was nice enough to walk us through a house. He's turning, I think it's a 4 bedroom into a 7, and then he's going to convert the 2 car garage into another unit.
Mm,
Um, so what
yeah,
he
I know.
told me is, I think the month to month or like a year lease would have been like 22. Airbnb would have been like 3 grand, and then co-living's like 4,500.
Yeah, it's about right.
Right. So again, the margin is, the top line is so much higher. So I'm curious, what's the turnover, or like are these weekly, monthly leases? What do we got?
It's a 30-day commitment with week to week. Yeah, and we
Oh, week
furnish
to
them.
week.
Yeah,
Okay,
we
week to week.
furnish them. So
And then the turnover or collection
it's
issues, what do we got?
I'd say there's 10-15% collection issues, but it's different because I don't do the collection, by the way, the property management does, but I see
Hmm. Yep.
that's the strangest thing. I have 2 or 3 people. I've got 24 units. Well, 25. I'm house hacking in my primary in Oregon also, but
Nice.
24 co-living. I guess this is co-living, so 25. But the way I've seen is there's a couple people that will, because they have a threshold of about $300, and if you get over
Mhm.
$300 behind, then they put you on a termination warning for that week, and if you don't pay, then you're terminated.
Okay.
The way it works is they're not tenants, they're members, right?
Right.
So what it is the people that sign the agreement, they're part of an LLC, and that
Mm.
LLC is part of the membership to that LLC. You get rights to that property for 1 week, right?
Got
Well,
it.
30-day commitment, then 1 week. So it's not a tenant
Right.
landlord relationship in a way. So that's how the legalese guys and the lawyers, worked it out, right?
I like
But
it.
yeah, I've seen that about 10-15%. And then on the turnover, yeah, it's significant, at least one a month, maybe two on average. So out of the 24 units, I hadn't had a full month of an 8 bedroom house until last month.
Hmm.
And then this month we actually have 2 that are full, and then I have 6 in my other one. So August should be my best. Well, this July was my best month so far,
Got
and
it.
then it's not even over yet, and then August should be my next. So this is what I heard when I got into this space was it takes time to ramp up and
Sure.
stabilize, because you have the people that come and go, and then over time you'll have
The
people
people
that
that
end up
stay.
staying longer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so about a year or so. We're only 7 months into this. I didn't launch until January. So
I like it. I like it. So I have no idea what a room rents for in Arizona. Are we talking $400 for a standard kid's bedroom, maybe 800 for a master, or what are we talking about?
well, it's week to week. So on
Oh,
average
that's
around,
true. Week to week.
yeah, on average it started off at 215 and then it's 200 and now we're in the 180s.
Okay.
So but that dropped down pretty quick after say January, February, March, because more, man, the real investors flooded it, because Arizona, at least with the property manager I was using, didn't start until last year, January of
Mm,
2023. And
okay.
so that ramped up. I talked to the number 3 guy that came on board, and he's actually my realtor.
Nah, that's
And
good.
well, I always look for really hard stuff. I was looking for a real estate agent in Arizona that was doing co-living,
Ooh.
and was an investor. So you want to talk about needle in a haystack? But I found him. I
You
found
got him.
him.
You got
Yeah, I
one.
found him, and he's awesome too. We may partner on something in the future, but
That's
um,
great.
Stephen
Yeah.
Gomez, I'll say his name because he's
Yeah,
awesome.
Stephen Gomez, shout out to you. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Um, so again, so we're 180 a week. So what is that? That's 720 a month. And that's just
Seven.
for a standard kids bedroom?
It's they're my rooms are pretty decent size. I'd say on average probably 10 by 10, 10 by 12. I have
Okay.
one room that's a 22 by 14. It's the master in one of the rooms, and I couldn't figure out how to split it up, so I just left it.
Yeah.
And you'd mentioned something a while ago about going to the garage. I don't do that. I'd leave the garages alone. My average cost for bedrooms is about 5K per room for
Mm,
construction. But if you
sure.
go to the garage, man, you're adding walls, electricity, air
Yeah.
ducting, all that stuff. So it gets expensive. So I just stay out of the garage. I don't even do it.
Yeah, I mean, you already got 8 bedrooms, so
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
makes perfect sense to me. I do like the idea no pools, paid for
Yeah.
solar. Those are great add-ons to the buy box. So now that you've been in this, what would be food for thoughts? What would you tell yourself a year ago? Is this the right thing to do? Any lessons learned you would tell someone?
Yeah, this is the right thing to do for me for my goals, right? Like I always keep the goals in mind. So I wanted the cash flow, but I wanted to point out one thing. I knew it going into this. With You're not going to have your normal, which I've never done, but your long-term renters where you put somebody in, you don't hear from them for a year or maybe a couple
Right,
times a year. This is not passive. I'll say that again.
right,
This is not even close to passive. You're going to get calls for, so and so ate my peanut butter,
right.
or
Yep.
so and so's playing their music too loud, or so and yada yada. So it just goes on and
Yeah.
on. Now pad split, or sorry, I just said the name of the property
It's
manager. I'm
okay.
not sure it's okay. they
Sure.
they are supposed to handle that, but I'm trying to provide a really good service, so I do get involved. I don't want it just to go to some third party, they wait on hold forever. So I'm trying to do
Right.
that. Alex Hermosi provide really good service and product, right? So that's
I
what I'm
like
doing.
it. Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
but I'm not
So
shy. I'll talk to people
yeah,
right away. I have no problems telling somebody they got to get out, that kind of thing. So,
that's awesome. So how often are you in Arizona? Do you go there, look at new deals? You got a team on the ground that just pulls out their phone and they do walkthroughs for you? Like
um,
how many times you go there?
for the last year, I think I've been down there 7 or 8 times, and a couple of them were a few weeks at a time because I don't have any partners. I'm solo. Um, Partly because I didn't want to lose anybody else's money, but also I'm kind of a control freak and I like to make sure everything's a certain
Me
way.
too. I
Like,
got you.
so
I'm with
um
you.
yeah, and I had a year off. So yeah, I went down quite a bit and networked with a lot of people, but I do have awesome people in place. All my, I guess I don't want to call them, well, people I work with, I'll say
Yeah.
partners, right? The cleaning
Partners. Yeah.
lady's awesome. I mean, I went through I think 4 or 5 before I got to her. Obviously the real estate agents awesome. Contractors are okay. Hopefully they're not watching this.
Yeah.
Had some issues with the floor on the last one, and I was like, come on, man.
Come on.
But all in all, yeah, pretty good. So yeah, I go down there quite a bit.
Yeah. So where do you go from here? Do you have a target to get one more by the end of the year? Are you looking already out at 2025? What's the
Well,
plan?
I wanted one. I ran a pilot, is what I'm, typical corporate fashion. I was in tech for 23 years, and I'm going back actually on August 19th because I wanted to take a year off to focus to get this started and then get the
Mm,
team in place and then go back to a job because I'm going to take advantage of that 5%. You were asking where I'm going.
yeah.
After I left in November 18 of last year, they came out with that 5% down on a fourplex, and I was like, son of a. So, but to
Damn it.
be, yeah, so to be bankable, I had to get a job. I'm like, all right, so I got a job and I worked
There you
for
go.
about a month as a tech or whatever, and then now I'm going back to the company I was at. I had to
Nice.
stay gone for a year because I took a buyout.
Mm.
And so yeah, so I'm going back and I'm going to pick up a fourplex here in Oregon because I
Oh,
have
nice.
has to be a primary, but I'm looking for a co-living. And well, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm not going to use the property manager anymore because they changed your pay
Mm.
their fees, right? And it's
Sure.
going to sound dumb, but they were at 15%. Now they're dropping to 8%. But the difference is they're taking the first 10 days of every new
Yep.
movement. So if you do the math, it's about 8 months recovery, and I don't like that. So I have a buddy of mine, Stephen Gomez. He's also doing the same thing I'm doing for one property. He's 9 properties in Arizona, but he's going to turn one of his long-term rentals that someone just moved out, actually starts construction tomorrow. He's going to
Mm.
turn that into a co-living house and run it himself. And so I'm going to, ride his coattails, see how that goes. I've been networking with
Sure.
other people, and we're going to probably do the same thing, probably do co-living and run it ourselves. Now that poses its own problem because I'm going to have to come up with a property manager, and hopefully it'll be him.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll partner on a deal or something like that. But
Yeah.
that's kind of my thought process, is to go forward into co-living, but run it
Nice.
myself. Right.
Nice. I like it. I like it. I also like the idea of folks, if you don't know, they changed the rules about 6 months ago or so where you can get a 5% down on a fourplex. And I've often said my greatest regret was not buying a fourplex, at 20 years old or whatnot. It would have, definitely changed my trajectory with real estate. So it definitely something to look at. If that fits where you are in life, a
Yeah.
fourplex would be a great purchase. Um, what other advice you have for folks that are maybe sitting on the sidelines? Maybe they're analysis paralysis. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're just getting started. It's like, hey, I just read Tom's book like you did, or Rich Dad Poor Dad like I did, and they're ready to get going. What's some advice we tell those people?
Just get started, start networking. Networking's key. They say your network is your net worth. That's not even that's absolutely true. Your network is your net worth. And I learned that the hard way, because I was very much in my own little world, not talking to anybody, trying to do my own thing for like a few months. And then I figured it out, right? So I'm a slow learner sometimes, I tell you. So, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. That was one of the reasons that because I tried to do this with Facebook, private Facebook groups, got a 2,000 members or whatever in there, but I couldn't communicate with everybody. Facebook locks it down so that you can't get the coverage as the creator, right? I would post something and like 5% of the audience would see it. I'm like, that's not effective.
Yeah.
So that's why we went to school. We made it $20 to keep it cheap, so that everybody could join, but also it's not free, so you don't get, nobodies.
Yeah.
And the beauty I like about school, watching it grow, is everybody's doing it. Everybody's speaking the same language, buy box,
Yeah.
daily discipline, focus. People are helping each other. Um, yeah, what I would tell somebody today is like, if you're stuck, spend $20, join the community, post a couple of questions, and see if you like the answers. If you don't, then don't pay the second $20.
Right.
Right? It's not a year commitment. So I like what Alex is building over there at school. So it's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I wanted to mention this. You know how you say write disrespectful offers?
I do.
Here's one for you. My third house that I bought, because I'll
Yeah.
back up. My first house, I was dumb and I paid list, but I got 10K concessions. So, but whatever, I got started.
Yeah.
Second one, actually the second one I had under contract twice because we put under contract, and on the 9 day of the inspection period, my contractor that I'd done the first house with bid me up like 3x, and I was like,
Mm.
what the hell? And I didn't listen to Dion. I should have had 3 different bids, and I didn't do that, so I screwed up. So I dropped out of contract, looked around for a couple months. That's where I found my third house, but I didn't buy it yet. Came back to that house, wrote a 20,000 under offer because it was on the days on market 80 days at that point, and they accepted it. So
There you go. Yeah.
I picked it up 395, and it was listed for 452. But then I learned, I was like, oh wow, this market's tough, because I was looking on days on market and they were going up and up and up and up. So
Yeah.
the third house, they wanted 585. After a couple months, we picked it up for 465. It was awesome. And on top of that, I mean, I needed to put a new AC unit in it, but it was $7,000, but he paid 2K concessions, so I paid 5. But the best thing about that house is that something I didn't even know. So I pay utilities with this market, right? And the solar on that puts out 65K a day, which is great. but on top of that, it's legacied into the power company. And so it's a 1-to-1. It's not the old, yeah, since I pay utilities, so I keep that house at 72 degrees, and my power bill last month was negative 34 cents.
Nice.
Unreal, man.
In Phoenix.
In Phoenix, yeah, in the summer, right? So I mean, that's my flagship property. I love that thing, and I got the best deal on it. So we're getting better and better as we go.
I love it. I love it. Well, I appreciate you being a part of school. I appreciate you volunteering to help out with Accountability Group 2 on Sundays. That's amazing. I love how you're responding and helping folks. You've even posted graphs in the group about co-living, which I think is great. If somebody wanted to follow you or ask you questions, where do we send them?
I'm REI Jared. So it's REIJARROD on Instagram and YouTube. So that's my YouTube channel too, REI
Awesome.
Jared. I started that after shortly after the ORaaT last year with Sean Cannell. He said, just hit record.
Just start.
So yeah, we're up to like 531 subscribers or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's awesome. One more time. What is the YouTube channel?
REIJARROD.
There you go. REI Jared. Folks, if you are a part of school today, do me a favor, send him a note. Tell him he did great. Ask him some questions. If you want to talk about co-living, he is the guy. I am not the guy. He's the guy. Jared, thank you so much.
Thanks.